I feel that for a lot of you, you take initiative, being a fire sign and also being the first sign of the zodiac. You're ruled by the head, and it's basically, jump in first and then think about the ramifications later. And you're in the process of having this air sign in your life. There might be situations that calls for, emotional support, but instead of giving the emotional support, they might, chime in and tell you how they feel, or tell you, what they think. And you feel as if they're not completely supportive of your decisions. And I would say that this is definitely a matter of perspective, because I do feel, almost like a standoff energy where both people are not communicating very well with one another, or even when they're communicating well, they're not thinking on the same wavelengths, and as a result of it, they're not approaching the same problem. What one person might feel is a major problem, which is that, they might tell you, oh, hold back a little bit, don't act too rashly, and don't act too soon. When in fact, you're just like, the time is now. Life is not all about waiting. So philosophically, you're at cross purposes with one another in the way that you assess life's situations, in the way that you make important life choices, okay? So I do feel this is a major challenge. It might have happened in the past. It's a recurring theme because both parties are showing up in the reverse position. This is also you. And there's something here. There's a situation here where you're starting to see eye to eye, but you're both not really acting on it. You're both on the defense about one another. So if this is a new air sign that you've never been in a relationship with, who you have romantic feelings for, or who you're contemplating whether or not you can pursue a love relationship with them, I do feel that one of the main challenges for this month is that for a lot of you, you're looking at regrets and pain and sorrow from the past. You're looking at, you're afraid that the healing hasn't really taken place yet, and as a result of it, you don't want to start anything new. So you're kind of like inaction. This is the King of Rods, which is a fire sign. So I'm reading this energy as you, which is that you don't really want to make a move. You don't really want to budge. You know what you should do because kings are very strategic. Kings know what they want. They understand delay gratification, and they're very methodical when they do things because they have wisdom, and it's basically they take into account all parties involved. They don't just act on their own whims and on their own impulses, okay? So relatively, I feel that for a lot of you, despite, the typical Aries trait, which is forging ahead, for a lot of you, there is a once burned, twice shy type of energy about you, where you are a little bit more deliberate about the decisions that you're making. And you might feel as if in your interaction with an air sign, there might be, hot trigger topics that both sides are agreeing. Okay, those are contentious topics. We're just not going to go there because it will escalate into warfare. So you're dropping those hints with one another, and you decided to be cordial with one another. I do feel in this situation, both sides, there's definitely communication problems coming through where you're both on the defense when you interact with one another. Both sides just automatically like steals up, okay? So this is something that needs to be changed. And I do feel that what's coming in here is we also have the Hangman. In the reverse position, I usually look at this as a changing paradigm, a shift in your perspective, okay? And just a shift overall in your life, because I do feel that whatever you've been doing in the past, it hasn't been working. And then once this shift happens, possibly by the 20th of the month, by the week and a half to the last week of the month, there's a big major shift that happens, which turns your world around because we start seeing progression, we start seeing movement, and it's the end to the stagnation. And When you look at the chariot, it's drawn by the black and white horses. So these are like different energies that learn to get along in order to pull a life direction, or in order to, it's sort of like dealing with inner conflict in order to achieve success. But it's also about very, very different energies working in harmony with one another rather than working at cross purposes with one another. And the chariot being a major arcana card, I do feel that there is some external influence stepping in and stating that, enough's enough. I'm going to intervene, and then you both have to follow my orders. So it could be, a supervisor telling you have to work well with a coworker, and they haven't seen this working out too well, so there's a mediator coming through to tell you both how you can work together as a unit. And as a result of it, we do have harmony, we do have synergy, we do have the two halves of our two different people coming together in a very, very loving merger and a loving union. So this can pan out in a work environment, in a work partnership. But I do feel for a lot of you, this is going to be a new relationship, okay? So you're dealing with residual energies where you might have been burned in the past. You might have dealt with somebody who was very harsh with their words, who might have been a little bit, who flies off the handle, like with their aggression or with just their verbal abuse. So I do feel that it's somebody who is quite sharp with their tongue. All right, it might not even be an air sign, but I do feel for a lot of you it's an air sign from the past that you're no longer involved with. I don't feel you're turning your back on them, so you're not going to allow them to affect your aura and your energy field. So they're not in the landscape, but you're thinking about them, but you're turning your back on them, meaning that you scrap them behind, and you're moving on with your life. And Knight of Swords are often, in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it is the fastest moving knight of the deck. And it seems like a card of defense, okay? It is usually the card of defense. It's in the reverse in this spread. So I do feel that, that period where things that you invested a lot in or you had high hopes for, you had to admit to yourself that it wasn't for your greater good. And this might have happened in, September, October, where you realize that it wasn't going to work out. So no matter how much you wanted it, no matter how much a lot of synchronicities might have seemed like it was ideal for you, you're going to have to let it go. And I feel that for a lot of you, this might have happened in September, in October, and you realize that you have to really let it go because it might seem like it was just, destined for you, but it's not meant for you. As a result of it, you're still thinking about it, but you have better options now. I feel like you might have three other options. One of this thing being one of them, and you're still clinging on to the memory of it, but you know that there are better options out there. So what I'm sensing here is that all the Ten of Cups and the Five of Cups are corroborating the same thing. You wanted it very, very badly, and you might have become like tunnel vision in the process. Because Knight of Swords, like I said, when you move too fast, when you're too fixated on a certain outcome, you can get very, very tunnel vision. And this is across the board for everybody, not just for Aries. But I do feel the Knight of Swords is now in the reverse position, indicating to me that you're slowing down, you're taking the time to really enjoy life, you're taking the time to be appreciative as well of these two other options that you might have. So even though the one thing that you wanted very, very badly didn't work out, you're not going to put much stock into it because this is a month for you to move forward, to move on. And all it takes is a shift in paradigm. And I do feel this shift, unfortunately, I do sense that it's going to come in a little bit later on in the month when you're done filtering out the noise and you're done interacting with residual energy of this person or this work project, okay? So I also am getting this strong feeling as well. If for some reason you have lend out you've lent out some money, a large sum of money to somebody, and they, repeatedly tell you, oh, I'm going to pay you back in a certain time, and they keep saying that, and they use the same old excuses. I do feel that the money is going to be repaid at the end of the month. Okay, so just hold out a little bit. I do feel that they are coming up with excuses, whoever it is that you've lent money to, and you're expecting it back, or you're waiting on a loan. You're waiting on some type of to recoup your losses, for example. I do feel that there is a period of waiting, but there's victory to be had by the end of this month. So you're going to be in a very good place, and there's new relationships coming in as well. So keep in mind that the lovers, especially in this deck, it is a physical sexual energy, so it's not the most stable. It's not the most stable. So however this plays out, it is up to you to direct the energies to make sure that it is what you make of it. Okay, so what I mean by this, and I'm not explaining this well. So once again, this is, just physical energy, lust, desire, and things like that. It's a positive card, I feel, but it depends who you're dealing with. So in this situation, I would say self-control is going to be required of you, okay? Because we do have the Chariot in front of it. So it's telling me that basically you have to reach this point where you are in control of your environment, where you are in control of your life, where you have a sense of direction, where you are able to fight through or conquer the inner conflict or the conflictual feelings that you have about somebody, in order for you to find a sense of enlightenment. As a result of it, shifting your paradigm and shifting the situation around, looking at a situation from a different perspective, for example, or even taking a different approach to solving a very old problem, okay, or seeing somebody in a new light. You are going to be able to achieve this, and you are going to be able to see somebody in a brand new light, or this can just be new relationships coming in that is giving you the nurturing and the emotional support that you need. I'm actually going to pull out one more card here just to see what energies we're dealing with here with the lovers. So I got two. It's actually, we have the Knight of Pentacles, but once again, it is in the reverse position. So I do feel that when it comes to a work partnership, I just want you to know that you are definitely in control here. So if you're thinking about work negotiations, like salary negotiations, or even negotiations about a work partnership where, you decide on who gets a certain percentage share, this is definitely in your control, so you don't have to be afraid that if you ask for too much, they're going to rescind their offer, for example, okay? So this month is about self-mastery. It's about coming into terms with what it is that you're looking forward to, and it's all about, as well, looking at a situation with a little bit more depth and a little bit more breadth, okay? So what I mean by that is, with the fixation on the past disappointment, past relationships that might not have panned out the way you want, or past situations in which you invested a great deal of time, resources, money, love, affection, and it was going to the wrong place, and you ended up feeling very depleted. I feel that, I only see this with Aries. You can start out with, like, heartache, and then by the end of the month, you're onto something new. So Aries and Geminis, I feel that there's a lot of Aries and Gemini dyads that are involved with one another. And both signs bounce back very, very quickly. So I do feel we're starting out the beginning of the month, and these cards might look a little bit problematic, but I do feel that you're dealing with residual energies, because the month really happens basically on the 15th, when you're trying to sort through the memories, when you're trying to sort through, or you're trying to rebuild your life. and everything looks very great and very positive, and you do have a lot of good energies coming through, and finances, financial situations, loans and things like that are going to resolve themselves by the end of this month. Additionally, I do feel that, once this shift in energy, this change in perspective happens, you're going to see that whatever it was that seemed very problematic was just a very minor blip on your radar, okay? And it's going to wean itself out of your life gradually, because if we're looking at this as progression, we're progressing towards more self-mastery, more discipline, more enlightenment, more of a bird's eye view, a more holistic view in looking at and being appreciative as well of the things that we still have in our lives, of the people that are still there for us. All right. So Aries, it is going to be a good month. If you'd like a private reading, please send me an email at temperatestar@gmail.com. My website can be found below, where you can book an appointment or view my availability. And I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I do feel that, this shift in paradigm happens around, well, it's going to happen sooner as well, but I do feel that being around close friends, close family members, and things like that are reminders of why you have so much to offer and why you shouldn't let things from the past hurt you, okay? Because I do feel a lot of past energy, a lot of mental energies as well. A series of plans not coming to fruition, and as a result of it, you're going to a little bit of an introverted, reclusive mode, but you really should break out of it, okay? Because new love situations are coming through for you. A lot of you might have transition as well from an air sign to an earth sign, with the pentacles here. And what I'm sensing is that take it slow, do some healing work, do some inner work on yourself first. Figure out why the relationships in the past haven't worked, and what you can do differently, because the Hangman is all about a change in perspective. It's about a sacrifice, possibly sacrificing one person so that you can proceed in a relationship with another. But I just want you to take things slow and welcome all that comes through for you, rather than being so fixated on an outcome. All right? So take care of yourself, Aries. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.